Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to the 9th Annual Bellevue University Athletics Hall of Fame Banquet, where tonight, Joe Abts, Casie, Kinman, Onken, Jami, Shupe, Marce Wilson, and Ed Lehotak are set to join the elite group of Bellevue University Athletic Hall of Fame members. Give them a hand, please. We're all here for the Hall of Fame, and some of you may be wondering, well, how does this work? Well, it begins with the Hall of Fame nomination submissions. Membership into the Bellevue University Athletics Hall of Fame may include former student athletes, a head coach, an athletics administrator, or a team that has made an impact on the athletic and college community, brought distinction to the athletics program, significantly benefited the college, and displays outstanding character, leadership, commitment, sportsmanship, and integrity. Nominations can be submitted by visiting www.bubruins.com. And new this year is we have our very own QR code, which will scan to the nomination form itself. The QR code is located at the memorabilia table in the other room. Now, we get ready for dinner. I'd like Rob Brown to come up and deliver the invocation.
Thank you. How many in here knew that we had golf at Bellevue? Okay, very good. 2 people, that's very good. Okay, how many knew that we were ranked, depending on what group you're checking the polling on, we're either be 3rd or 5th in the United States? What do you think of that? That's pretty good. Pretty soon I'm going to get somebody from the U.S. It'll be great. Okay, the reason they selected me, I'm the only one that prays before they eat in the whole staff. So join me if you would, please. Father, we thank you much for having a special night to both honor what Bellevue means to all of us and honor some people that have made it extra special. Help us enjoy this meal, and thank you for those that helped us prepare it. And let us have a great night tonight. We thank you for it. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Once again, I'd like to welcome everyone here to the Hall of Fame banquet here at Bellevue University. My name is Ron Petak, and I'm honored to serve as the MC once again. Okay, at this time, I would like to recognize some people who are here tonight, and we will start with former Bellevue University basketball coach and athletic director, and the first member of the Bellevue University Athletics Hall of Fame inductee in 2013, Jerry Marce and his wife, Gloria. And Mrs. Marce doesn't know this, but, well, she knows it's her birthday, but she doesn't know we're going to sing happy birthday to her. So, on 3, happy birthday to Mrs. Marce. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lord. Happy birthday to you.
37 years young. I'd also like to recognize the current BU athletic director, Ed Lehotak, as he is one of the honorees tonight, his wife, Peggy. Keith Edquist from the board of directors. And Dr. Mary Hawkins, president of Bellevue University, and her husband, Jim. Finally, before we get to the reason why you're all here, there are some past Hall of Fame inductees in attendance tonight. So please stand when I call your name, and everyone else, you can reserve your applause until everyone is standing. You are allowed to clap for yourself as you stand. Jerry Marce, class of 2013. Woo! Buzz Garlock, Kevin Riley, and Lindsay Betzworth, who is also serving as security tonight, from the class of 2014. Mike Burkhart, Ed Larson, and Larissa Christensen from the class of 2015. Joe Forrell, Marilyn Ralston, Carrie Gillette Witherspoon, and Kelly Cheshire from the class of 2017. Members of the 1995 baseball team, Greg Hope, Todd Schmeeding, and Marce Wilson from the class of 2018. Jason Jarvis, Gunnar Brown, Mike Livergood, and myself from the class of 2019. And finally, Ron Weiss from the class of 2020. This is a very impressive group of former Bellevue University athletes. Thank you for your support of the program, and let's give them a big hand. The Bellevue University Athletics program has a long and storied history that cannot be told without recognizing Jerry Mosser's nearly half-century of service to this university. Starting in 1972, through and beyond his retirement in 2008, he and Gloria have dedicated their efforts to Bellevue University's student athletes. Those relationships have only grown stronger over time. Yesterday's golf outing was another well-attended day for the support of the Jerry and Gloria Mosser Scholarship Fund. The value of the fund has grown to $83,870.70, and it now awards scholarships to 2 BU student athletes each year. Tonight, we have those recipients in attendance. I'd like for you to please stand and give a hand for Lorelei Hayden from the women's cross-country team. And Anthony Lynn from the baseball team. These are your honorees for the Jerry and Gloria Mosser Scholarship. As you know, a portion of the proceeds from this weekend's events go toward the scholarship fund. Coach and Gloria, thank you for what you continue to do for BU athletics. Did you want to say something? No. Oh, okay. Well, I'd like to recognize a lot of people who made tonight's possible. And it takes a lot of people to pull off this weekend of events, the golf tournament, the banquet. And first and foremost, there is an unsung hero among you tonight who spends countless hours on the golf tourney, working this event, tracking down sponsors, tracking down former athletes. So, Coach, help me in recognizing Trish Sedlick. Other folks that deserve mention tonight: Micah Rhodes, James Zanders, Miles Landau, Michaela Miller, Andrea Boudreau, Leslie LeBoy, Chelsea Sluter, Karen Robinson, and, of course, Doreen and Tom Narofsky. Please give them a hand. Would also like to acknowledge Chris and Cheryl Gallus of Eddie's Catering for providing the meal tonight and the meat. Rachel for leading the catering staff, and to let you know that your wait staff tonight are members of the volleyball team. Raise your hands, volleyball team. And the cleanup crew tonight will be members of the women's soccer team. I don't know if they drew lots for who was working what, but at this time, I'd like for you to turn your attention to the video screens as we have a presentation. We have added a new piece to the Bruin history and are excited to debut it here before it goes live on the athletics website. Additionally, we will be hearing from both Coach Marce and Gloria and Hall of Fame Committee Chairperson Kevin Riley. Please look at the video.
The story of the Bruin Bear is quite a tale. The original Bellevue College Bear was created by student athlete Scott Knight in 1984 at the request of the athletic director, Jerry Marce. It was to be used for a flyer that Marce needed for an event. Scott had done several projects for Marce and was usually given only a matter of hours to complete those projects. This request by Marce was for a bear, not a bear logo or a mascot. Marce specified that he didn't want a cartoon-looking bear. He wanted a real-looking bear and gave Scott until the next day to come up with a suitable design. Over the course of the next several hours, Scott designed 10 to 15 bears and presented them to Marce to choose from. The choices ranged from big to little to mean-looking to silhouettes. Despite the request by Marce to not develop a cartoon-looking bear, Scott's humor got the best of him, and he ended up sneaking in a hastily drawn cartoon bear at the bottom of the stack of designs. After going through the entire stack, Marce saw the cartoon bear and said, "This is the one." Over the years, the bear that was originally designed to be a one-time drawing for a flyer popped up all over the campus. Flyers, signs, t-shirts, hats, watches, clocks, and other various promotional items used this 10-minute drawing as its centerpiece. Scott Knight was a local celebrity. Humbled by the attention, Scott viewed the bear as just one of the simple drawings that he developed as sort of a joke, since it was the opposite of what Marce wanted. However, to the community of Bellevue and the NAIA, it was the start of a legendary brand that lasted a quarter of a century. You can still see it on Jerry Marce Court in the Gordon Logier Athletic Center. The current logo used by the BU Athletic Department took shape in 2015 and was based on the original bear drawn by Scott. The shape of the head and the emotion of the new logo was something that was inspired by Scott's original design. Over the years, Coach Marce and Gloria always went out of their way to thank me for the bear. They have always been great to me, so it was especially nice to see that the bear was important to them and that they really appreciated it. It is funny they were much sadder than I was when the bear was recently replaced, with a very cool looking new logo, I might add. My bear had a good run. Scott Knight.
The Bellevue University Athletics Hall of Fame began in 2013 to honor former athletes, administrators, donors, and teams who have helped create a proud tradition in intercollegiate competition at Bellevue. Longtime athletic director Jerry Marce was the first ever inductee into the Hall of Fame. The vision that both Jerry and his wife, Gloria, had when the original idea of the Hall of Fame was first discussed was to start a scholarship program. This program was developed to provide a scholarship for athletes who were members of a Bruin athletic team and who also met academic and financial need criteria. The profits from the Hall of Fame golf outing provide these funds and grow each year through both whole sponsorship donations and golf fees. The Marce's ultimate goal is to bring both the community of Bellevue and former student athletes together for an important cause that supports and benefits the athletic department. The Bellevue University Athletic Department is nationally recognized in the NAIA academically and athletically. Each year, the Jerry and Gloria Marce Scholarship will provide 2 student athletes an opportunity to benefit from those donations.
Vision of the scholarship was to pull our athletes together that have played here and develop a scholarship program and pull the athletes to where we're getting together and talking about the old times and showing them what we're going to do with our scholarship.
Some of the people that come back haven't been to a university function since they left. Not because that's their intent, just because life happens to them.
We would like all athletes that participated at the university to come back. You don't have to graduate from here. I've had a lot of athletes that go on to other colleges and graduate, and they are our alumni. When they play for us, they're our family.
We have players that played for Jerry or other coaches, and we have their daughters or their sons playing this year, and to come back and see them that we haven't seen in years, watch their children play, that has been the most fun for me ever.
When I started at this university, we didn't have much money, and we had hardly any scholarships.
We operated on a shoestring when I was here, and the shoestring wasn't always tied. But we had great people. Jerry and Gloria Marce gave everything they had, including much of their own money, to make this program work. I remember when we had a men's basketball team, a baseball team, a golf team, a wrestling team, and that was it. Then wrestling dropped out, and then golf dropped off, and we had baseball and basketball, and that was it. And to see what it is today is so much on the shoulders of the two people that built it, and that being Jerry and Gloria. We never dreamed it would be what it is today, with all the programs and all the success. And so as a member of the committee, as the chair of the committee, the pride I have, the pride we have in what this program is, and the focus on recognizing Jerry and Gloria Marce for what they accomplished, and to advance this program into this next century is both gratifying to me and certainly a special interest.
With the addition of these scholarships, it's helping athletes participate and being able to go to a four-year school and get a degree.
Seeing them get some needy money that they can utilize, which they hadn't, and to see that in their notes they always say it'll help them further their educational endeavors, and that really makes me feel good.
I'd like to thank everybody that's donated money, brought people to our tournament, just people that really like Bellevue University and the athletic program. It's important that we thank you and hope that you continue with everything that you can do to develop our program, and we hope to see you each year. So thank you.
How about a round of applause? Okay, now to the main portion of tonight's program. There is a common theme among tonight's inductees: a passion for winning, ambassadors for the Bruin tradition, great teammates, coachable, talented, and most of all, graduates that are successful community members. Their journey started as a student athlete or a coach, and is continued now as a Hall of Famer. This is a family and a culture that has been here since Jerry and Gloria Marce arrived on campus. Yes, it is true that once you're a Bruin, you're always a Bruin. And thank you for choosing the purple and gold. We'll now begin our feature presentation and the official induction of the 5 special folks who are being honored tonight. We're glad you're here with us, and the folks that you've brought with you to celebrate with you on this humongous milestone. Our first inductee is Joe Abts.
Joe Abts, men's basketball, 1976 to 1980. Joe Abts was a 4-year letter winner in men's basketball under BU Hall of Fame coach Jerry Marce. Coach Marce saw him play at Nebraska State Tournament. He turned in a phenomenal defensive effort that saw him record the game-winning steal and basket. He was a starter all 4 years that he attended Bellevue, and as a senior during the 1979-1980 season, was recognized as the Bellevue University Athlete of the Year. Joe was named to the Nebraska Senior All-Star Game following his senior season. Following his time at BU, where he majored in business, Joe took a job with Mutual of Omaha and has worked there for the past 41 years. Joe and his late wife Kim have 2 children, Ryan and Eric, and 6 grandchildren. He plans on retiring next year to spend more time with his family and on the golf course. He was one of the most dedicated players to ever come through the Bellevue University program under Coach Marce.
Well, Joe Abts went to Creighton Prep High School and was in the state tournament, and I watched Joe play, and he stole the ball probably 8 times in the times I've seen him. So I was very interested in him coming to Bellevue University.
When I played at Bellevue for 4 years, I got to play with 2 great point guards. One was Buzz Garlock and the other one was Joe Abts. I played with Buzz for 1 year and Joe for 3. In fact, I played his high school team when I was in high school. I didn't even know Joe was on that team. So I knew a lot of the guys he played with, and he was a very kind, gentle guy that was fun to be around. Joe would have to be standing left wide open before he'd ever take a shot. He'd prefer to pass the ball, and I don't remember a coach ever yelling at him at all.
Joe Abts, in my opinion as a basketball coach, is probably in the top 5 that we had at this university. Joe had dedication, he was an honest person, and he was always willing to do the extra for the university. You were one of the best I've had.
We were playing Peru State College, and Coach Marce decided that we should play man-to-man defense, which we never played back in those days. And Joe got to guard the nation's #1 scorer in that game, because Coach thought that Joe would be able to slow him down. Despite his quickness, which he was known for, the guy hit his average of 38 points in that game. The good news in that game was we still won despite the guy getting 38 points.
To be put in the Hall of Fame, he met all the credentials of a person that knew where he was going. He graduated from the university. He's worked over 40 years in the Mutual of Omaha. He spent a lot of his time with his kids and his wife. Besides that, it was all Bellevue University and athletics had put him in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm very pleased to have Joe as a member of the Hall of Fame. Joe, it's good to see you again, and welcome to the group.
Joe had just lost his wife, and they were very close, and I knew him very, very well. And I know right now she's looking down and saying that you definitely deserve this honor.
Please welcome Joe Abts.
I want to thank the Bellevue University Athletic Hall of Fame Committee for this great honor. I'm humbled to be joining a Hall of Fame with so many elite athletes, great coaches, and individuals who have meant so much to this university. I want to thank my sons and their wives for being here, Ryan and Michelle, Eric and Kelly, my grandkids, Haley and Steven, my brother and his wife, Tim and Michonne, for attending. My wife, Kim, would have loved so much to share this evening with us. I have the next best thing. Kim's sister, Tish, and her son drove up from Leavenworth, Kansas to be here. Tish and Sam, thank you. Thank you for all coming and sharing this night with us. Coach Marce and Mike Burkhart, thank you so much for those kind comments. I really appreciate that. Coach, it was an honor to play for you. Mike, it was great being a teammate of yours. Trish Seelick, the assistant athletic director, had sent out a questionnaire to gather information about the inductees. One of the questions was, what made you pick Bellevue University? It only took me 1 second to think about it. It was because it just felt right. Coach Marce called the summer after I graduated from high school to see if I wanted to scrimmage with the basketball team. I said, sure. When I met Coach and the team for the first time, everyone was so nice, and I could tell that the players enjoyed being here. They were having fun. When I met Mrs. Marce for the first time, she greeted me with open arms. Right from the beginning, it felt like an extended family. I made the right choice. Looking back at my career, I had it pretty easy. I got to play 1 year with Greg Smith, 2 years with Timmy Williams, and 3 years with Mike Burkhart. All prolific scorers, and all have been inducted into the Bellevue University's Hall of Fame. I just had to get the ball to one of them. This gave me an opportunity to play a little defense and make a few steals during my career. I met my wife, Kim, during my second year here, and it was her first year. She got to experience the culture created by Coach and Mrs. Marce. During our time here, Kim and I got to know the players and wives that were here before us, and some of the players that came after us. Again, everyone was very nice, and you could tell everyone cared for each other. When Coach and Mrs. Marce learned that Kim was sick, they would occasionally bring lunch over to the house. When they left for Arizona, they would frequently call to see how she was doing. When Kim passed away in December, I was amazed at how many people from Bellevue University made it to her visitation. For those that were out of town, I received cards and letters from a large number of friends from the university that I hadn't seen in 40 years. The culture that you two built, all I can say is thank you. I am proud to be part of it. I made the right choice by coming here. And thanks again to the Hall of Fame committee for making this a special night for me. I will always remember this evening. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Casie Kinman Onken. Please turn your attention to the video boards.
Casie Kinman Onken, softball, 1998 to 2002. Casie Kinman Onken was a 4-year letter winner for the softball team, playing from the 1999 through the 2002 season. Kinman Onken helped guide the Bruins to 3 MCAC regular season championships, 3 MCAC tournament championships, and an appearance in the 2000 NAIA National Tournament, where the Bruins won their first ever game at the national tournament. She posted a career batting average of .343 and was named the Bellevue University Athlete of the Year in 2001-2002. As of the 2022 season, she still ranked on the career list in several categories, including 8th in career doubles, 14th in career hits, 17th in career extra base hits and batting average, 18th in career total bases, 22nd in career slugging percentage, and 24th in career on-base percentage. After earning her degree from Bellevue in physical education, She went on to earn her teaching certificate from Peru State College before earning master's degrees from both the University of Nebraska Omaha and Northern State University. She has stayed involved in the softball world with 13 years of coaching experience at the high school level. Casie and her husband Tim Onken have 3 sons, Zach, Chase, and Max. Her sisters Whitney and Caitlin also played softball for the Bruins, and her brother Kyle was a standout baseball player at BU.
I recruited Casie to join us on the softball team, and her first year was 1999. And like all of them, she was a scared little freshman, being surrounded by quite an interesting group of players we had back then. So that's how I got to know Casie through the recruiting process, and of course she played for me for 4 years.
Casie was a gritty player, and Casie was the type of player who never took a play off. I remember Casie as a player very well because she was in a unique position of coming in as an underclassman with a class of 10 seniors. And she was on the field, and she knew she belonged on the field, and she stayed there. And sometimes with a pitching staff with some bold personalities and much older, she handled herself quite well. And those are the things I remember as Casie as a player. She was younger, but she stepped right up and fit right in, and we respected her as a catcher.
Casie was a good student, okay, that part was very easy. As an athlete, she was a very hard worker, and Casie was probably one of the most cerebral players I've ever had. She was a real student of the game. I always kind of likened her like a sponge. She just wanted to soak in all kinds of knowledge about the game, and it's really paid off for her. She's now the head coach of Bellevue East High School. Casie was one of the very few catchers I had that were allowed to call their own game, call their own pitches for the pitchers. She was just that good, and yeah, that's Casie.
I do remember being on the field with Casie, and Casie called her own pitches. And it just goes to show her knowledge of the game. 2 senior pitchers trusted her to call the pitches, to call the game, and we left that in her hands. And that's a big responsibility, especially for an underclassman. And she handled it, and she handled us, and it just goes to show what kind of player Casie was. She wasn't just a hard-nosed ball player, but she was a smart ball player. And that's the kind of person you want behind the plate when you're pitching.
Casie was 2 times on the All-MCAC team. That was the Midlands Collegiate Athletic Conference. In her senior year, she was put on the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association All-Regional team, which is really quite an honor. That was not one of our better years, but even though we did win the conference that year, and a lot of that was due to Casie and her leadership. Her senior year, Casie was a true team leader. The younger players really looked up to her. She was like a coach on the field for us. Just her whole demeanor was very businesslike all the time, although she had a great sense of humor. She's a very heady player, and she would point things out to me. And being a head coach, sometimes I was pretty stubborn. She was one of the few players I actually listened to when she had some comments or things she wanted to point out or bring to my attention. And so I always appreciated that about Casie.
Casie's worthy of the Hall of Fame recognition because of her passion for the game. I would say a lot is what she gives back to the community now as well. Casie's a coach now herself. She's giving back to the game. And she's a great positive role model for young women that I think we need more of. And I'm really, really glad that Casie's still here in Bellevue giving back to our community. Casie, whether she was a ball player or a coach or just a person and a mother, she really does exemplify what it means to be a Bruin. And she could not be more deserving of this recognition. Casie, congratulations on your induction. Myself and all the Bruins and alumni and staff were also proud of you, and we're glad you are here, and we hope you have a great evening.
Casie, again, this is a well-deserved award. I enjoyed having you play for me. You were extremely coachable. You were very intelligent. Again, it's paid off, as I can tell how well you've done at East. Coaching that team, look at how many of your players we have on our current roster from Bell East, and that's a credit to you. And this award is probably long overdue, and congratulations.
Please welcome Casie Kinman Onken, Hall of Fame member.
Thank you, guys. I wasn't nervous, and now all of a sudden I kind of am a little bit. But I guess I just want to start by saying, thank you to everyone who felt that, recognizing me and that I had enough impact on the Bellevue community and at BU athletics amongst so many amazing athletes to be recognized with this honor. Truly, it really is an honor, and thank you. I want to say thank you to my mom and Brian and my dad, who also played here years ago, and Starla for all the support over all these years. I've got to reach out to all my brothers and sisters. There's lots of us. Thank you to all of them that were able to make it. Adam and Emmy, thanks for being here. Whitney, who also played at BU and is a BU alum. Caitlin, also a BU alum. Love it. So many of us. My sister Bree and Joe, that both were able to come tonight, and my amazing baseball player of a brother, Kyle, who unfortunately is out playing baseball right now. So he's playing somewhere, I don't even know where tonight. So, but it's just, there's a lot of us, and thank all of you guys for being here. And I'm kind of hoping that, Kelly, after knowing me for 24 years, that you might pass the quiz on that, knowing who my brothers and sisters are and in what order here shortly. Also, thank you to my husband, Tim, and the boys for being here. Zach, Chase, and Max. They've gone to probably 1 million softball games on my journey of both playing and coaching, including a game today. We were already at a game today. In fact, Tim and I just celebrated our 20-year anniversary with the trip to Arizona this past week. Our anniversary is actually September 7th, but I'm pretty sure every year for the last 20 years, I coach a game on September 7th, so including this year, so we decided we'd try to sneak it in a little bit early. I actually wrote this speech yesterday morning, 5 minutes before the golf tournament. It's the only time I'd had to even do it or even think about it, but it wasn't difficult for me to write it because I always knew if I was given this opportunity, I just knew what I would say. I've always felt like I found myself at Bellevue. I just always have. Playing softball here and going to school was the first time I truly felt like I belonged and that these were my people and this was my home. And I have to smile to see so many people that I played with or coached with or against in the audience tonight. It makes me so happy. Many of my former players, like Coach Lehotak said, are now playing here at Bellevue, and it's just amazing, and I can't wait to watch them grow, and they did great this season. All of them and everybody that is still involved with BU athletics, it just shows that true love for softball and that true love for the game, and that love is there the way that I've always loved the game, and that's what makes this place home, and it always has. Although I knew I always wanted to play softball in college, and I was hoping that I was good enough, I really wasn't really sure where I was going to play. I didn't really know how to advocate for myself as far as who do I contact? Do I reach out? Do coaches find you? Am I on the right team? And all that stuff. I've always believed in the softball gods. The ones that allow that bunt to stay fair in the bottom of the 7th, or the ones that the sun shines just right when your opponent's trying to catch that routine fly ball with 2 outs and you miraculously win the game. Or the gods that put that magic in your bat when you're called into pinch hit freshman year at regionals against the Red Raiders with 2 outs and runners at second, third, down by 1. I truly believe the softball gods were looking out for me and found a way for me to get to play at Bellevue and to play for Ed Lehotak. I was told before I was recruited that I was an Ed Lehotak type of player. I was like, okay, I have no idea what that means. But thank you, I guess. After coming here and after playing for BU and playing for Ed, and now after coaching for over 13 years, I know what it means. It means play hard, love the game, strategize, and don't stress the BS. It's all about the game, the dubs, and expecting the unexpected. Thinking about the game 4 batters ahead and knowing what you will do depending on if the count is a 2-1 or a 1-2. I loved playing for Ed. He was like a second dad to me. I always tried to ride in the front seat, in the front seat of the van so that we could reminisce about every single play, every single game on the way home. And yes, for all of you younger players, we took vans everywhere. You guys definitely have it nice now. Ed, I just could not thank you enough for everything that you taught me and for taking a chance on me. And thank you for telling me I should become a coach because I have loved every minute of coaching. Thank you for that. Now, one of the things I was not expecting after playing softball and going to school was that at some point you have to graduate. I remember sitting with Coach Marce, the next person I have to thank, and him sitting down with me and reviewing my credits for classes and telling me if I take 27 hours this year and 6 in the summer and 24, I would graduate next May. I was like, what? I was like, graduate? I was like, then what? I was like, you mean I can't play softball forever? I was like, well, crap, what am I going to do now? And Coach Marce said, you should look into teaching and you should become a teacher. I truly, to be honest with you, did not think that that was my future. I really didn't. Coaching, yes. Teaching, not so much. But I honestly didn't really have a lot of other ideas. I really wasn't sure where I wanted to go even still. And Marce told me I should look into possibly being a para. Didn't even know what that was. Okay, fine. Looked into that. It's kind of like a teacher aide for those of you that don't know. But I did listen to him. I went back to school, got my teaching certification. I loved being a para, working with the kids, having fun. I mean, it was just so great to watch them grow. I'm just really convinced that Coach Marce probably saw that in me, that is something that I could do before I knew it myself. And once I had that first teaching job and coaching job, which, by the way, he also helped me get, who would have thought that I'd be starting already my 19th year on Monday in education, which is pretty crazy. It's definitely been the right path for me, and I just got to say thank you, Coach, for helping me define that path. And as a coach and a school counselor now, I truly try to direct my own students and players towards their paths, as I was fortunate to have you help me direct me through mine. Thank you. I honestly, to be honest with you guys, I could stay up here and tell story after story. Like when my first fall game, and Kelly, I just had to laugh at what you said. My first fall game was against Kearney freshman year. We were getting killed, by the way. Kelly was pitching. I was so nervous. Nice job, Kel. But it wasn't Kelly's fault. It wasn't Kelly's fault. I was so nervous that after feeling lost calling pitches and shaking, Kelly comes in the dugout, looks at me, and she says, if I shake you off, do not call that same pitch again. I was dying. I was like, oh my God, you're right. It was so embarrassing. I felt like a complete idiot. Needless to say, I never made that mistake again. Maybe I did. I hope not. Or the first time I stepped in the batter's box against Carrie and struck out on 3 straight rise balls and went, holy crap, I don't even think I can play here. This is ridiculous. Or that time that Ed comes flying out of the dugout, sunglasses off. You know you're in trouble if he throws them sunglasses off. And he says, my God, this was after Jack Tipke bombed a home run over the fence. What the hell are you calling back there, Kinman? I looked at him. I said, that was a pitch out, Ed. Man, I can only call him. I can't throw him for him. I don't know what you want me to do, Coach. So he did pick his sunglasses up. Mike Livergood, I got to throw a shout out to you, helping me through so many injuries. Unfortunately, you and I spent a lot of time together. My favorite, though, was always kinesiology class. I remember sleeping with that book and hoping that I wasn't called on in class to tell you the difference between pronation and supination. But We are only supposed to be given about 10 minutes here to 10 minutes to talk, so I'm pretty sure I am pretty close to that. But what I would say is thank you to all of you. Thank you for inducting me with this honor, and to Bellevue University for being my home away from home and for helping me truly find myself.
Our next inductee is Jami Shupe. Please look at the video boards.
Jami Shupe, women's soccer, 1997 to 1999. Jami Shupe was a 3-year letter winner for the women's soccer team, playing from 1997 to 1999 and earning first-team All-MCAC honors in each of her 3 seasons. Jami remains Bellevue's career record holder with 60 goals and 151 points. Jami set the BU single-season goal-scoring record in 1997, finding the back of the net 23 times en route to a then-record 60 points. Her 14 assists that season were second in the record book. She became the program's first All-American, earning third-team honors in 1998 and backed it up by earning an honorable mention All-America in 1999. She remains the lone women's soccer player to be named to one of the 3 All-American teams with her 1998 selection. In 1998, Jami added 13 more goals and 3 more assists to her career tallies. Then, during her senior campaign, she broke her own records, set just 2 years prior for both goals and points. She earned her degree in communications from Bellevue and currently works for Cox Business as a senior account executive. Jami has several nieces and nephews and a Bichon Schnauzer named Ella. Both her single-season goal and point totals remain program highs to this day.
I know Jami Shupe from back in our college days. She was my roommate for a few years, and we played soccer together. Jami Shupe was a very competitive, focused player. If she set her mind to something, she would accomplish it, whether it was on the field or off the field. She just was a natural athlete, very determined. She holds these records that no one's been able to beat. She's been since the 90s, and she was only here 3 years. And I just think that's really incredible.
I came in as a freshman on the women's soccer team here at Bellevue, and Jami had just transferred over from College of St. Mary's. Jami was a leader. She had the most natural athletic abilities that I had seen for quite some time, and actually she made it seem super easy. It just felt like if you get the ball to Jami, she's gonna take care of it. Not only is Jami one of the most naturally talented athletes, but all of her attributes as far as getting her to be nominated for the Hall of Fame, such as being trustworthy, honest, fun, hardworking, her pursuance of excellence on and off the field. You can just tell, I mean, how many years have gone by, and just all around success in her life. True friend, close with her family. Jami's superb talent. What is also amazing is just how humble she is about it, which made her very likable with everyone on the team. We all had very unique personalities, but we all got along, and Jami really made sure that everyone was included.
When we were rooming with Shupe, it was a away trip. We were late, and we were on our way, and she's like, I think I left the iron on. So we were like, oh, do we go back? Do we, obviously we had to go back because the iron was on. Shupe was really nervous, and the rest of us in the car were like, we're not worried. We got Shupe. It's not like they're gonna leave without us. There was no way they would leave behind Jami Shupe. Back up a year, we were getting ready to play College of St. Mary's, and the team was preparing for the match, and my job was to be Jami Shupe at that training session because she was just something to reckon with, and we had to prepare. It was just kind of funny that I had to play her the year before meeting her.
When we were actually graduated from college, done with soccer, she knew that I played golf, and so she wanted to learn how to play golf. And I went to the driving range, just teaching her just the basics. But I could tell just in that lesson how she picked up on every little technique, and just by the first practice, she was hitting them very well. Fast forward a couple years, I moved away, came back. We went and hung out again, and she just asked me, hey, are you golfing? And I'm like, yes. She's like, what's your handicap? And if I stay under 100, I'm pretty happy. And she asked me, what tee box do I play from? And I'm like, red? So I'm just so amazed and just wanting to know just in the next 3 years how much she's taken up the sport and pursued it like anything in her life. She's always self-driven and tries to go the extra mile. I would like to say, Jami, knowing you over 20 plus years, again, just being true to yourself, very pleasant and fun to be around, always with a smile, just the excellence of everything that she does. She tries to be the best at it. It's truly admirable.
Shupe, I just want to say congratulations. You deserve this. You've earned it. I'm so proud of you. Proud to call you my friend. I know if I ever need anything, whether it's a getaway driver or a drink out, you're there for me. I love you.
Please welcome Hall of Fame member Jami Shupe.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting all of that. Very nice comments. So, first I would like to say that I am so humbled to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this evening. Sports in general, but particularly soccer during my younger years, has played a significant role in my life. The team environment, the discipline required to be competitive, and the opportunity to be a part of something that provides purpose in my life has made a significant impact on who I am today. I have so many people to thank for their support and encouragement of me in my soccer, I have so many people to thank for their support and encouragement of me in my soccer pursuits today. They know who they are, but I do want to mention a few tonight. My mom, Lori, and my dad, Ray. I consider myself fortunate to have had the support and would not be standing here today without your commitment and dedication throughout all my playing years. I want to thank all the amazing coaches I've had here at Bellevue University. They were the guiding hand and enablers to ensure soccer stayed important and relevant, but also fun. Speaking of fun, I do need to acknowledge my teammates. They were all very talented girls, but beside the talent, they also ensured soccer was not all about winning, but also enjoying the game and building friendships. I know a few of those girls are here tonight. Amy, Naomi, Arian. Thank you so much for your support of me and for the continued meaningful relationships I share with you today. Amy Tilley constantly attempts me to play soccer still today, but for the most part, I've given up on that, and I've taken up the sport of golf. So I'm very obsessed with that. I want to thank Dave for being here tonight with me. And I want to also thank the university, the athletic department for creating and maintaining a strong supporting environment and for my nomination into the Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Marce Wilson. Please look at the video board.
Marce Wilson, baseball, 1994 to 1995. Marce Wilson was a 2-year member of the baseball program at Bellevue University. He came to BU after 2 years at Eastern Oklahoma State College and was a mainstay atop the Bruin rotation. Wilson earned numerous individual and team honors, including being named First Team All-District in 1994, First Team All-MCAC honors in 1995, and was the 1995 MCAC Player of the Year. The team competed in the 1994 Region 3 tournament before capturing the 1995 Region 3 crown and qualifying for the program's first ever NAIA World Series. Behind Wilson's pitching prowess, Bellevue won 5 straight elimination games en route to the university's first NAIA National Championship. That season, Wilson went 11-2 on the hill and struck out 128 batters in 121 innings of work. Wilson earned his degree from Bellevue before going on to earn a master's from the University of Phoenix. He is currently the head baseball coach and a physical education teacher in the Murray School District in Utah. Marce and his wife of 26 years, Ivy, have 2 sons, Vaughn and Cooper. Among his stats from the 1995 season, his 18 starts are the most ever by a Bruin in a single season.
When Marce first came to Bellevue, he was a roommate. We ended up teaming up together the first fall. Derek Hope and I were the first couple of Utah kids who had made the transition to Bellevue the year before, and that next year there were about 4 or 5 more that came out, and Marce was, the other legend that came out that I was excited to get to know. I had known Marce in high school. I had never played against him. I had heard of his legend. I would read the newspaper articles. Marce was just this mythical figure when I first met him. And I come to meet him and he was just kind of this little stocky, I'm like, this was Marce? I'm like, man, I thought he'd be bigger. Then we got on the field and we always had a little bit of a competition, filling each other out and being roommates, where he was just a bulldog. He was very talented, but he may have not been the most physically, biggest guy. But man, when he stepped on that mound, he was just a force. We called him the bulldog. You could tell when it was game day for Marce, you just kind of let him be.
Well, I had the pleasure of getting to live with Marce for two years as my roommate. You knew right away that Marce was invested in his craft. Marce was a worker. He wasn't about doing anything unless there was purpose behind it, intention behind it. He wanted to know the why to the what. And so as a result of that, that was what I got to watch up close and personal, was his ability to stay focused and disciplined and really focused forward with his eyes on the prize. And it was all about, if it makes me better, I'm all in. If it doesn't make me better, I got no time for you. So he was chasing greatness from the very beginning.
So in that first fall, we would always host a tournament. Marce, when he was getting ready for his start, came up and told me, he's like, I'm gonna strike out more than you this game, watch. And he did.
And nothing was getting in the way of Marce's success and Marce chasing greatness, and he just was not interested in mediocrity. He had no time for it, and I learned a lot from that and that demeanor and those traits and those qualities, and he was never about excuses.
In high school, college, even pro ball, there's guys who have talent, there's guys that have ability, there's guys that just can close their eyes and be good. And Marce was just a flat competitor. When he got the ball, whether he had his good stuff, as he would call it, his A, B, or C stuff, even with his C stuff, he was going to go out and beat you. He just pounded the zone. He was just relentless. He worked quick. He worked fast. He just wanted he wanted to get right after you, and he won. I mean, he didn't care how he won. He just wanted to win, which kind of epitomized that whole team, the whole roster, the whole attitude, of everybody's out just to find a way to win. When you gave him the ball, you knew you were going to get 7, 8, 9 innings of just flat dominance. Marce, buddy, it's been a long time. Always loved having you as a roommate and a teammate, and just couldn't be more excited for you. It's such a well-deserved honor and probably long overdue for you, because you were such a key for that World Series team, and you're just an amazing guy. Couldn't be more happy for you. I know this means a lot. Love you, buddy.
Marce, man, we shared a lot of time together, intimate time, man, just talking, getting to know one another, man. I don't exchange that time with you and the relationship we've built over those years. And we look 25, 30 years later, and man, I know that you're a friend that I can count on, and I cannot be more proud of you and what you've been able to achieve for us and the teammate you were to me and to all of the guys. Man, I love you. I'm proud of you. A lot of people think they deserve things in this world, man. You do deserve it, and you deserve it because you earned it. And man, I couldn't be more proud. I love you, brother. I love all the Bruins watching. Miss all you guys. Go Bruins.
Please welcome one of the best pitchers I've ever seen here at Bellevue, Marce Wilson. It's hard to be such a competitor and then have to stand up here in a suit and tie. But I wouldn't trade this experience for the world. First, a few people I'd like to acknowledge. First, obviously, all those associated with the Bellevue Hall of Fame. Thank you for putting a few drinks down and marking the box next to my name. I appreciate that. Doreen, for this wonderful dinner. Thank you. Trish, Wonder Woman. I don't know how she does it. Everything you do to keep our baseball team of nearly 30 years still intact. We appreciate it. Thank you. I'd like to thank my family for making the trip out to Omaha or Bellevue with me, my son Cooper, my son Vaughn, and my wife Ivy. She doesn't get a lot of vacation time, and so when you tell your wife you're going on vacation to Bellevue, there you are. And then you tell her you're going to golf in the Marce golf tournament on your vacation as one of your days off. But she's here. She was here when I was here. Ronnie, thanks for making this weekend enjoyable.
opening up your home, your time, to welcome me and my family here. Jason, I could go on. I could beat Tim Studite's record up here at 48 minutes. Just talking about Jarvis alone. But I won't. I'll be more like Frank Thomas. Rumor has it when he was inducted to Hall of Fame, he listed over 100 people he'd like to thank. I won't do that either. Fellow inductees, Jami, Joe, Casie, and Ed, congratulations on your honor. I'm sure it's well deserved. I only knew, really, I don't think I know any of you when I was here. There wasn't softball yet. We've already discussed how many sports were not here at Bellevue when I was here. If you wanted to be entertained, I don't know what you did when I was here. There's only basketball to go to. So, I don't know how we did it. We just lived down the road here in Betts Apartments, and there was some entertainment within those apartments for sure. But if I don't want them to shut off the microphone, I'd better not talk about those stories. You know, in the movie, the Hollywood movie, Field of Dreams, John Kinsella walks up to his son, Ray Kinsella, and asks him, is this heaven? Which we all know, Ray replies, no, it's Iowa. And then John Kinsella walks away for a while, turns around and tells him, you know, hey, this sure felt like heaven. And then the movie goes on, and I'll touch on that just a little bit later. Not too much later. I'm not going to set a record up here. I'm a lot better talking when I can just flow with it with my students, with my teams. But I won't take your whole evening. 3 things I want to touch on tonight. One is, how did I even get to Bellevue? And 2, just some memories I had while I was here. And 3, I'm going to kind of put in a nutshell, kind of sum up how our team won that 95 national championship, in my opinion. First, how did I even get to Bellevue? I think it started when I was a little kid. I just wanted to throw everything. I wanted to throw crab apples at trucks. I wanted to throw snowballs at trucks going down the street. I wanted to throw rocks walking home from school. I wanted to throw everything. I wanted to throw the tennis ball against the garage door and knock out the door panels and get yelled at by my dad. As long as there was a loud thud on the other end, I wanted to throw it, because I love making sounds with things that came out of my hand. When I started playing Little League football in 4th grade, after asking my 4th grade classmates, because I didn't know how to play football, I went to the first practice 2 weeks late, and the coach put me at running back. After the practice was over, I asked him if the running back got to throw the ball. He said no. I said, I want to throw the ball. So the next practice, he let me throw the ball. And for 9 years, I was a quarterback. I just wanted to throw. I had no interest in running the ball. When I got to high school, I became a catcher and a pitcher. And you're not supposed to do that. But I want to throw the ball. If I'm not throwing it to the catcher, I want to throw it back to the pitcher. I just want to throw the ball. I did that my freshman and sophomore year, and then I moved to third base, pitcher. The tread on the tire was starting to come off a little bit. It was getting a little worn out. But at least I still got to throw the ball as a pitcher. And then I went to college at Eastern Oklahoma State. Many don't know this, but I went there as a third baseman. I didn't have any offers out of high school. The only reason I ended up at junior college is one Sunday morning I was laying in my bed, and Coach Kershell from the University of Oklahoma called my home on a landline phone with a big 20-foot cord. And he said, I heard about you from a recruiting letter. Back in the day, you had to write to colleges and send a letter to the coaches. And then they would always ask, hey, do you know anybody in your neighborhood or communities that are good enough to go to college that aren't going? I guess my name ended up on one of those letters from a player from an opposing team. I didn't know that. And it got into the hands of the University of Oklahoma's coach, Gary Crochelle. He called me and said, I'm going to send you to Eastern Oklahoma State. I called, did some research. So I went to Eastern Oklahoma State. And as a third baseman, one weekend, I was still playing third base. There was 4 of us. And I kept looking at the pitchers. And you know what I was thinking? I wasn't happy at third base. I went and told the coach, Coach, I want to pitch. He says, you pitch? I said, yeah, I pitch. I don't want to play third base. I want to throw things. And from that day on, in the fall of 1991, I never played another position other than pitcher in college. And I would never take it back. So I threw some things at Eastern Oklahoma State for a while. Got homesick down in Wilburton. If you've never been to Wilburton, Oklahoma, I convinced my wife to take a trip to Bellevue for her vacation. Convince your significant other to go to Wilburton for a vacation. You can Google map it if you want, if it's even on the map. But I got kind of homesick there, and I just went home. Nowhere really to go. Snow College back home found out I was back in town, offered me an option to go play for them. So I went to Snow College, and I let the coach know, because he remembered me in high school as a third baseman. I let the coach know. I said, Coach Anderson, I'm going to pitch. And we didn't have a long conversation. I just went there to pitch. After the Snow College, the season was coming to an end. And I had nowhere to go. I'm a sophomore. First of all, I didn't even know I was going to ever go to college. I didn't know what college baseball was out of high school. I was a 17-year-old just with no plans. Toward the end of Snow College, we're playing a team called Dixie Junior College in southern Utah. 4 or 5 of those kids from Utah that came out here were from Dixie, maybe even more of them. Some of them went back home. Dixie was a national power, a team that had the 35 home run kids, draft picks everywhere. And they were telling me, I had a few friends on that team, they were telling me how all of them are going to go to Bellevue. First of all, remember, I went from Wilburton to Ephraim, Utah. Combined population of both cities, 4,000, probably. They're not cities, I guess they're towns. I don't know what they are. And all these kids are telling me they're going to go back to Bellevue. And here I am feeling like I'm left out again. I have nowhere to go. But I knew Dixie was on our schedule. And I knew they were coming to our team to play. Our team wasn't good. Snow, we weren't very good. I think we were the 2nd worst team in the conference. But I knew they were coming to our place on a May afternoon. And I knew I had nowhere to go. I pitched against them that day. When I say studs, I'm talking probably that entire team either was drafted or went to the Division I, except for the ones who turned down Division I to come back to Bellevue. I pitched against that team. We went extra innings. I think we went 10, maybe 11 innings. Try to guess who never left the mound. The coach tried to come take me off the mound. I was well over 200 pitches. Wasn't going to happen. I had to beat those guys to get to Bellevue. I had to impress those kids enough to tell them, hey, as Jarvis would say, there's a short, stocky bulldog you might want to look at that doesn't go to Dixie. Well, we ended up losing. We lost 5-4. And I remember after that game was over, I went and sat on the porch stairs of our athletic training center, and I was devastated because the Bellevue kids from Dixie, they get to ride off into the sunset and go play 2 more years of college, and I go nowhere. Then there was a little Italian guy named Lee Lawley, who just happened to be at that game because his grandson played for Dixie. And he's the one that told Bellevue about all these Dixie kids. He just happened to be at that game. He walked over to me at the porch, on that porch, and I'm just sitting there. I don't know this guy. I mean, picture a 5'3" Italian guy come to talk to you who's 60 years old after you just lost a 200-pitch game. And he introduced himself. I'm Lee Lawley from Bellevue University. I don't know why, I guess he was. He gave himself a title. He said, "I'd like to offer you a scholarship to go back and play with Bellevue." It took me about 15 seconds to say, I'm in. I'm in. So sometimes you win when you lose. And that's how I got here, it was always because, like Jason said, I just wanted to compete. I just wanted to throw things, and when I threw something, I wanted it to be really loud on the other end. And for me in college, that was always the catcher's glove. So when a coach came up to me to ask me to throw a changeup, I'm like, you're talking to the wrong guy. If my catcher came out to talk to me, would call a changeup. This guy can hit fastballs. You're talking to the wrong guy. So I learned how to throw my curveball fast. I learned how to throw my slider fast. Everything was fast. Everything was hard. There was no changeups. I think I threw one changeup in my entire college career. I teach it to my kids that I coach, but not for me. That's not for me. And so that's how I ended up back here at Bellevue. Kind of an interesting story. The next thing I know, I was in the passenger seat of Nick DeLuca's Honda CRX, and we headed east on I-80 to 1,000 miles away to Omaha, Nebraska. Came over here, veered over here to Bellevue, and that's where we stayed for a couple years. And interesting story. Now, just a few memories I have while I'm here. I'm not going to set a record of time up here. A few things I remember here. There's a Bellevue Fitness Club. I don't even know if it still exists, but they gave us the key. Hopefully nobody here is in management of Bellevue Fitness Club. They gave us the key to work out at Bellevue. Me, Craig Giannino, and our other roommate, Chris Pratt. And then we had some other teammates come with us once in a while because we got there at 4:30 in the morning to open up that facility with that key to work out before school started. I remember those memories. Awfully cold at 4:30 in the morning here in Bellevue. I remember walking down Betts Road with the wind chill of 20 below or something like that, so frozen. I turned back to go back to our apartment. I got back there, my key wouldn't open the door. I was frozen to school and like frozen out of my apartment. I remember that. I remember playing catch with Jason Jarvis outside of our apartment just before fall, my junior year. We were playing catch. I remember asking Jarvie, "Do you think I have a chance here? Do you think I have a chance to be a starter at Bellevue?" And he goes, "Yes." He goes, "Yes." So thanks, Jay. I remember Chad Hopkins, one of our teammates at first base, and calling everybody cuz. I said, man, this kid, great personality on our team, calling everybody cuz. Always singing the song Mother from Danzig. If you haven't heard that song before, go listen to it. He's always hollering that song. I remember Jason Jarvis getting his teeth knocked out in a game and getting flown back, I think, the next day for emergency surgery. And then losing our starting catcher our senior year, Brandon Elgren, to a hand injury. That was pretty devastating to our team. I remember Derek Hope, a roommate of mine. He had a white 4 tempo. And one night I was just in pain. I said, "Derek, I'm in pain." And he goes, "Let's get to the hospital." And I'm thinking, hospital, flat, Bellevue? You can't. In Salt Lake, you see mountains. You know where you're going. Here, I don't know where we're going. He gets in and he takes off down the road. We're in this white tempo going as fast as we can, about 1 o'clock in the morning. I feel this pain in my side. It's getting worse and worse and worse. I open the door to the passenger side, and I was going to jump out at about 55 miles an hour. I remember him grabbing my arm and telling me to lock the door. I didn't know that would be the first of 12 kidney stones that I would experience. But I remember that night very well. I found out that night where Papillion Hospital or emergency care was. I remember the back seat of Coach Evans's car was an absolute nightmare. It was a disaster. You couldn't see the seat coverings. But as a head coach now of almost 20 years, I know how and every other coach in here knows how your car gets just destroyed. Sitting at Don Roddy Field, listening to Andy Lewis call the games into a tape recorder. Keith Markle's spot-on voice impression of our legend Lloyd Lurvey. Nobody gave a better impression of Lloyd. If you don't know Lloyd Lurvey, look him up. I feel bad for you. That guy he's a legend. I remember coming home from practice and being glued to the TV watching a white Ford Bronco get chased down a California highway one day and being glued to the TV for months on end. I remember, and some of you remember this, I remember, if you can't hear me, I apologize. This microphone is going in and out. But anyway, unless that's like the Oscars when they tell you it's going in and out, it's like a signal. I don't know. I know I'll never end up at the Oscars. They'll never let me in. I remember waiting until after 10 o'clock p.m. to call my then girlfriend, so the rate was 10 cents a minute. We didn't have cell phones back there. Our phone bill was $200, $300 a month. I remember waiting until 10 o'clock to give her a call back in Salt Lake. Remember our teammate Dusty Stauffer, who looked like the Incredible Hulk? This kid was something. He was a specimen. I remember Aaron Ford's. I don't know what pact these kids have. They had a pact if we went to the World Series, they're going to get a tattoo. I don't know how many of them sold their soul to the devil with that pact, but Aaron Ford went and got one. I don't know if he still has it. He's got a tattoo on his back. It's got to be this big. I remember that tattoo. I'll never forget that tattoo. I remember watching our two lefties, Craig Giannino and Mike McQueen, rack up saves on the mound. These guys were about 5'4", 5'5", and they come out and they just dominate people from the left side. I'll never forget those two kids. I remember watching Dave Carter steal over 50 bases in 1994. If you're not familiar with baseball that well, stealing 50 bases is just borderline ridiculous at a college level. You just don't get that many chances. I remember watching Jerry Hunter's curveball, just buckle batters. Even when they knew the curveball was coming, buckled their knees. Jerry Hunter he had one of the best curveballs I've ever seen. I remember Ron Weiss over here. We had to practice at Exarban's parking lot quite often because we had nowhere else to go when it snowed. So they plowed, Coach Evans knew they plowed Exarban, so we went out there with the pitcher's mound and all this stuff, and we had to practice on the asphalt. And that guy over there, one of your Hall of Fame members, slid into home plate on the asphalt. And that's when I knew this guy's a legend. I mean, not only does he look like Babe Ruth, I mean, he plays the game hard. So I'll never forget that. And finally, just being around my teammates and so forth. And last, I want to talk about just quickly is how did Bellevue actually win that 1995 national championship, in my opinion? Well, in 1994, we got close. We had a better team in 1994 than we had in 1995. But in 1994, we went down to the regionals. And there's kind of a metaphor we use in life about, more only in society, of how many people are in the wagon versus how many people are pulling the wagon. Raise your hand if you've heard kind of that metaphor used. You know, it's out there. But if I'm going to use that kind of analogy toward our team, is in 1994 we had way too many players just in the wagon. They would jump off once in a while, do some work, and then get back on. We had our constants that were always pulling, Jason, Ronnie, our coaching staff, and some of the local players that were from the Bellevue, Omaha area. They were always grinding for Bellevue baseball. They were always pulling. But a lot of us would jump back in the wagon when our job was done, and we just kept making that wagon heavier and harder to pull, and we didn't realize that at 19 years old. So we're down in the regionals, and we lose to a team we probably should have beaten. And I can only say that's because our junior class that ended up winning the national championship the next year, too many of us were in that wagon. And I'll always just feel terrible for you guys about that. Then 1995 comes, and all those wagon sitters were back in the wagon again. Because we played for Bellevue. We thought we were special. We thought we were cool. We played for Bellevue, and we had 21 games that year decided by one run. We didn't win them all. We won most of them. But 21 games by one run with the talent we had was ludicrous. We should have been destroying some of those teams. But it's because, again, someone would jump off the wagon and pull, and then others would jump back on the wagon. And it just always stayed heavy. Somehow we made it through the districts and the conference, and we get to the regionals. And in regionals, we play 5 games. 3 of those games decided by, you guessed it, 1 run. We lose the second game there by 1 run. And then we have to play elimination games. We have to win by 1 run. Then we won again by 1 run to get to Bellevue's first World Series. We get to the World Series, and I just sensed bad things were going to happen. I just felt that we had too many people on that wagon again, patting themselves on the back to get into the World Series. I pitched the first game that day, the first game of the World Series. I pitched 9 innings. I'm sure my pitch count was 880. I don't care. It's up there. I just want to throw things. Remember, I don't care. Just let me throw. I remember Coach Evans wanted to take me out a few times, and I said, you turn around. But we're winning 1-0. We have a no-hitter going through 8 1/3 innings. We're going to beat Alabama Birmingham, or Birmingham Southern, whatever the name is. But fortunate, a few mistakes, and we lose that game 2-1. And for anybody, any coach or any player in here who's ever experienced losing the first game of a tournament, you know it's an uphill battle through the loser's bracket. Again, we lose 2-1, and I'm looking at our team thinking, here we are, the same place we were in 1994 in the regionals. Too many people relying on just a few people to pull the wagon. That night we met with Coach Evans. He sat us down, and he laid out a plan. He laid out a pitching plan and say, Jerry Hunter's going to pitch this game, Wilson's going to pitch this game, these guys are going to pitch these games. He lays out a plan. So we get all pumped up. We're excited to execute this plan. We go out the next game. We're playing Wilmington, Delaware, and we should have smoked them. We get up on them, and then Jerry goes out there and gives up 6 runs in 1 inning. This plan that Coach Evans laid out, we're starting to unfoil. We have about, let's just say 5 or 6 players pulling that wagon now. We still have 15, 20 in the wagon. They're all relying on Jerry Hunter to get the job done. He gives up 6 runs. I remember Coach Evans walks out to pull him. Usually when the head coach comes out to get you, you're walking back with him. Well, the person that walked back to the dugout was Mike Evans. It wasn't Jerry Hunter. Jerry Hunter stayed out there. After giving up 6 runs in 1 inning, Jerry Hunter stayed out there. Final score, Bellevue 9, Wilmington 6. There was not one more run given up. And at that point is when our baseball team, one by one, started getting their butts off that wagon. When Jerry Hunter took it upon himself to say, Coach, know your role, get back in the dugout, we got this. And Jerry went out there and did that. And then if you watch the highlight video of our national championship, you'll start seeing Jay Rubin diving for balls up against the wall into rocks. Sean Nason making diving catches in center field up against the walls, falling over. Pazuski throwing people out from right field. An unsung hero, Craig Strain, a catcher who wasn't even supposed to be our catcher because Brandon got hurt. Craig Strain back there catching I think he caught every inning. You see Blake Bryce from Texas hit balls off the foul pole. You see the late Casie McMillan, 5'6", hit home runs. You'll see him sliding the home plate, snapping at the catcher. You'll see Chad Hopkins with a broken foot hit a massive home run in the championship game. You'll see Nick DeLuca hit back-to-back-to-back home runs. You'll see Chick Gatzmeyer, whose father passed away the week before, get on the mound against the most dominant NAIA baseball program in the history of NAIA baseball, Lewis and Clark. This kid doesn't pitch for us very often. His father dies the week before. He gets on the mound, and he beats him. Everybody just started jumping off the wagon. Everybody was pulling. Everybody started pulling. I got to start a second game that week, like 3 or 4 days later. And then the championship game comes again. I start that game. That's a lot of pitching. But again, I don't care because I just want to throw things. I'm pitching against Cumberland, Tennessee. I think I'm going to the 4th or 5th inning. And we always knew how fast we were pitching because we had signs. And I was always used to pitching a certain mile an hour. And in about the 4th or 5th inning, I see my mile per hours are down quite a bit. Again, the tread was coming off the tires. All I could do at that point, for the first time in my life, for the absolute first time in my life, when a coach came out to get me, I walked back with him. Because that is what was best for the team. I knew my days of throwing stuff and making loud sounds at the other end was over. That was it. I walked back out with Coach Evans off the field for the first time ever letting a coach do that. And there's one person sitting in that wagon. Wasn't me. I started pulling. We had one person left. And when that person walked on the field and I gave him the ball, he said, "Give me that crap." You can't swear at a Hall of Fame induction. But that person's name was Don Kevanimi, a Bellevue local. He took the ball, said that phrase, and threw 5 shutout innings in the championship game and ended up at the bottom of a dog pile 5 innings later. At that point, there was nobody not pulling that wagon. And it took every single one of us to win that national championship. And that's my opinion. I think that's how we won it. And I'm sorry to go over time, but if I read everything I had, I would set a record. It's all on my phone too. I didn't even pick up my phone. I'm so passionate up right now. I get so worked up. I could toss this podium. I get so worked up. When I talk about Bellevue and this baseball program and Bellevue and now this huge athletic program, it gets me pumped. I got 2 of my former players who play for Bellevue right now, and I'll keep sending them as much as I can. But I get so excited and so worked up thinking about what this university has done for me. And this big fat gold ring on my finger, it wouldn't happen if I didn't get the opportunity to come here and play. And so, to any of you who had anything to do with me being up here today or my experience here at Bellevue, I really appreciate you. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. Livergood, I saw you back there. Thanks for everything you did for our program. Congratulations on your induction here. Anyway, that's it. And I knew, back to the Field of Dreams. Last thing. Back to the Field of Dreams. When Ray Kinsella remember he told his dad, "This is Iowa." If I could write my own Hollywood ending, it would have kind of went like this. After that championship was over, and after everybody dogpiled on Don Kevanimi, everybody's hugging, parents are down there, everybody's high-fiving, hugging. It's a great time. The lights started going down on the field, and people are starting to disperse into the parking lot. If I could write my own Hollywood ending, it would have went like this. Little Coach Evans staying on the field, wiggling his little fingers. He's on that field. I'm on the field. I walk up to him. I give him a big hug. Tell him thanks for everything. I walk away. I turn around. I say, "Coach, is this heaven?" And Coach Evans looks at me. He says, "No, it's Iowa." We won that national championship in Sioux City. And then I walk away. I turn around. I say, "You know, Coach, it sure feels like heaven." And then I'd walk out into the outfield and up on the highway, ready to go, is that little red Honda CRX with Nick DeLuca sitting in it. We give each other a high five. He shifts, and off we go westbound back to Utah with a national championship. That's how I write the story. Anyway, thank you. Appreciate you.
Gosh darn, 17 seconds short of the Tim Studheit record.
I would have set that record.
Our next inductee is Ed Lehotak. And before I get him up here, Ed was wondering what I was going to say about him. And the first time I met Ed was probably 1997, somewhere in there. I didn't know him. I knew he had coached at Gross, and then he was over here at Bellevue. And I had coached softball at St. Peter and Paul. And we had a really good 7th, 8th grade team. And we dominated CYO, and I wanted to see how good we were against like club teams. So I got us into the Omaha City tournament. I didn't know much about that level of softball. So I called Ed and I said, do you have any tips, any ideas for me? Here's what Ed did. He came down and ran a practice for us down at Sun Valley. He came down, he brought a pitcher with him, and because my girls had never seen that quality of pitching. And he stayed for a good hour and a half with my girls. And I knew then that this was a good guy. So ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the video board for Ed Lehotak.
Ed Lehotak, softball coach, 1997 to 2009. Ed Lehotak was responsible for establishing the softball program and coached for 13 years, from their debut season in 1997 until taking over athletic director duties full-time at the conclusion of the 2009 season. During his run as head coach, Ed compiled a 471 and 222 record for a .68 winning percentage. Under his guidance, Bellevue won a total of 14 MCAC championships, reached the NAIA regional tournament 11 times, and qualified for the national tournament in 1998, 2000, and in 2007. For his part, Ed was named MCAC Coach of the Year 4 times, earning the distinction in 1999, 2002, 2007, and 2009. Under his direction, Bruin student athletes won numerous conference and national awards, among them 15 NAIA All-Americans, 4 NFCA All-Americans, 16 NFCA All-Region, the 2005 NAIA Regional Player of the Year, 6 MCAC Players of the Year, 3 MCAC Pitchers of the Year, 5 MCAC Newcomers of the Year, and 13 Daktronic NAIA Scholar Athletes. Ed has been married to his wife Peggy for 30 years. He has 3 children, Michaela, Carrie, and Amanda, and 3 grandchildren.
In our conference, we had to add another sport, and softball was the first one we thought of. Talking to Ron Pitek, the newspaper writer, the Bellevue Leader, and Ron said, I know a coach that coaches girls softball, and he's really, really good, but I don't know if he'd be interested. And at that time, Ed Lehotak had his own company, so I went down and visited with him, and after a couple times down there, he decided that he'd keep the business and start the softball team. At the time I hired him, I said, if you win 50% of your games, I'd be really, really happy. Well, Ed won the conference and just missed the national tournament. So I was really pleased with the way he recruited and the way he coached.
I have quite a long history with Ed. I've known him for many, many years. I actually played for him in high school. I played for him in travel ball and 2 years here at Bellevue. Past that, I coached with him for 8 years. Ed is deserving of the Hall of Fame award, not because of the records or the championships. He's deserving because of the impact he had on his players. He had a knack for pushing players to exceed their own expectations. When you thought you couldn't do something, he pushed you, and then you realized, oh my gosh, I did what I never thought I could do. Players who maybe didn't always have the highest skill level or the highest talent, they just reached for the stars when they played for him. He got you to believe in yourself, Ed understood what the bigger picture of all this is all about, and in my mind, that's what makes him a Hall of Fame candidate.
But as a coach, Ed was great. He would do things that nobody else would try, squeeze a person in. He had a rapport with the girls that nobody else had. The families that followed him was unbelievable. There was always at least 5 or 6 families at every game away when I used to go to them. So as a coach, I was so lucky to get him. So I'm really happy that they're putting him in the Hall of Fame.
Ed was a hard-nosed coach, but the fun thing is every player that played for him genuinely knew he cared for them and cared for the program. Not many people know, but in his time here coaching at Bellevue, he never had one player transfer to another school to play softball, which in these days with the transfer portal and everything, I think that's a pretty incredible accomplishment. And it just goes to show how much everybody truly loved playing for him and respected him.
I've watched a lot of baseball coaches and softball coaches give signals, and Ed probably is the worst signal caller ever. All he did was put his 2 fingers out, and that was it. And I couldn't understand how those girls could understand anything.
When the alumni get together, we're always still trying to answer the questions we were asked time and time again in the batter's box. One that's frequently brought up is there something up there I don't know about? Do you know it's the round yellow one? And my personal favorite and motivator was, would you like me to get you a pinch hitter? And you know, I always thought I'm standing in this circle and I've got a bat. I thought I was ready, but maybe not. He had different ways of motivating players, but my gosh, it worked, and we got in there and we were ready to go, and sometimes ready to take the world by storm and sometimes ready just to prove him wrong. And those are the kind of things we laugh about now and go back years and still talk about.
Well, Ed, I think you deserve this because, again, you're one of the best coaches we've had at this university. You've taken a group of ladies and turned them into athletes, turned them into scholars. You've developed these women that come back to the university, and you're a winner. There's no doubt about it. The times that I spent at the national tournament with you and the girls that come back and see you, I think that's all you need for the Hall of Fame. So I congratulate you, and I would like to say that Tim, your assistant coach, also was there with you, so I hope he's in the crowd today.
Ed, congratulations on your Hall of Fame induction. It could not be more deserved. I personally want to thank you for being my coach and mentor for all of these years. And I truly value the relationship that we have built since I was a young kid to now a grown adult. Congratulations. I hope you have a great evening.
Please welcome Hall of Fame member Ed Lehotak.
I won't steal Marce's thunder, so I will not take that much time, I promise you. I do want to congratulate the 4 before me. Congratulations, all well-deserved coming in. I think to get into the Hall of Fame, you should deserve it. And I have to admit, I question whether or not I do deserve it. And let me explain why. I started the program 13 years ago, and over the course of 13 years, we won 481 games. Coach Semino took my place. She ended this year with 13 years. She now has 486 wins. That makes me the losingest softball coach in Bellevue history. But since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and take it. Some thank yous, and I know I'll probably miss some people, but first of all, Coach Marce, thank you. You took a risk in hiring me. I think it paid off. I hope you think so, and I'll always appreciate that. Tim Cady is not here tonight. He's a gentleman who coached with me youth ball, high school ball, and college for a long, long time, and I really miss Tim. I haven't seen him in quite a while. He has a few health issues. Michaela Semino coached as an assistant for the first 2 years here at Bellevue before she went off to UNO. I had a lot of youth coaches, one who's here tonight, Bill Wackler. We coached together for a lot of years. I learned a lot from him. I appreciate that. My birthday, not that you care, is March 11th. Our wedding anniversary is March 14th. For 13 years, I was never home for my birthday or our anniversary because of spring trips down to Florida with the softball team. So Peggy, thank you for being so understanding and not killing me for always being gone for those times. All my family and friends that are here, it's very humbling to see how many of you have shown up. I was really stunned by the number. Thank you. It's really well appreciated. And of course, all the athletes that played for me over the years, I thank them for allowing me to coach them. A lot of them are here tonight. In fact, tonight we have, I believe, 3 first-team All-Americans here. Carrie, Mandy, Lindsay, they're all here. Am I missing somebody? No, I don't think so. I can't remember. Okay. Coach Marce kind of stole my thunder, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. When I agreed to do the softball team, I asked him what his expectations were. And he said, in your very first year, if you can win 10 to 12, 15 games, that'd be great. And at the end of 4 years, if you can make the conference tournament, that would be very successful. Our first year, we won 31, lost 16. We won the regular season conference title by beating the College of St. Mary's. Back then, you had to go through a sectional. We finished second. We got an at-large bid to regionals down in Columbia, Missouri. And by the way, we had 11 players on the team. Quite frankly, it's 10 and a half. Kathy Hugg broke her finger. She couldn't hit, our best hitter. We were the number 7 seed, played Culver Stockton, and they took a look at us and said, what is this? Why are they even here? 5-2 later, Bellevue, they found out why we were there. And then we ran out of steam and got knocked out, which was fine. Our second year, we went to Sioux Center, Iowa, and we had to come through the losers bracket. We played the University of Mary about, I think it was like 8, 9 o'clock at night. We were down 7-0 in the 5th inning. They almost 8-runned us, the mercy rule. Mandy Dyson, I can't remember your married name, so anyways, Mandy Dyson who's here. She comes to the plate at the bottom of the 5th inning, and I told her, Mandy, I don't care how you do it. You get hit in the butt, take a walk, base hit, you come back, we're going to win this game. First pitch, she drives a line drive down the third base line. She gives me the high sign. We scored 5 runs that inning, made it 7-5. Bottom of the 7th, we come up, we had bases loaded, 2 outs, and Chris Anchihal, who is also in the Hall of Fame, had a screaming line drive that never got more than 10 inches off the ground, bounced in front of the little second baseman, knocked her on her butt. We score, game over, we go to nationals. It was we go on to play Concordia in 2 more if game. An if game, we won the first one 6-4. And in the if game, and this is about 1:30 in the morning, we had to get this in. We were ahead 6-4 in the 7th inning, and a gal named Jami was on the mound, and I asked Coach Semino, Coach Lehotak at the time, I said, is Carrie Witherspoon ready? Is she ready to go to relieve? She said, I'll go check. Well, this kid hits a double. Oh, great. While she's waiting to find out if Carrie's ready or not, the next kid comes up, hits a double. So now it's 6-5, no outs. Uh-oh, we're running out of steam real fast. So I make the pitching change, call the team together, and I told them, I don't care if she scores. If they tie it up, we have to go all night. It doesn't matter. We cannot have a second base runner. Okay. The coach from Concordia, because I was convinced he would bunt the gal down to third, which made sense in softball. He doesn't. 3 pitches later, strike out. The number 3 hitter comes up, 4 pitches later, strikeout. The number 4 hitter comes up,
and I can't remember the exact pitch count, hits a hard grounder past the pitcher, Carey, and Mandy Dyson, my second baseman, backhands it, wheels, turns, throws it, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, we're going to nationals in our second year. So, the thing I did want to bring up, the best game I felt that really helped the program and was one of the best games I had the most fun was, every fall we would play in a tournament, and we were playing Creighton University's tournament out at Kelly Tranquility Fields, and Creighton, being cheapos, would not put up temporary fast pitch fences, which back then were about 200 feet. So we're playing in a slow pitch field. The fences are 300 feet. So we're playing the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And they had their top unit out there, their number one pitcher, everything. First inning, they scored 2 runs. And they bombed the ball. I mean, they hit it as far as you can. So this next inning, I told the outfielders, back up as far as you can. They did. The Cornhuskers kept bombing the ball. We kept catching them. We scored 2 runs in the 3rd inning to tie it up. Stays this way. We get to, I think it was the 6th inning. We have runners at 1st and 3rd. And back then, the Cornhuskers did not play small ball. Everything was hit, hit, hit. So I'm looking at the 3rd baseman. I think, they're not ready for this. We had runners at 1st and 3rd, called a suicide squeeze. The bunt goes down. The 3rd baseman cocks her head and goes, what? Like, what's this? So she runs up, and of course the run's going to score. She picks up the ball, launches it to the right field corner. The runner from 1st scores. Now we have a runner in 3rd. The next young lady, I can't remember who it was to be honest, gets a base hit. We are up 5-2. Bottom of the 7th, here come the Cornhuskers. First batter, boom. Second batter, and we catch it. Second batter, boom, we catch that one. 3rd batter, boom, we catch that. We win. A few years later, I run into Rhonda Ravel, the head coach. And I always teased her about how we beat them. Little NAI beats the big bad Cornhuskers. And she says, well, you know, Ed, if they'd have had legitimate fences, we'd have hit 2, maybe 3 home runs. I said, Rhonda, no, that's not true. You would have hit 10 or 12. And that leads me to the next part. And I think the players can tell, I never was one for long speeches after games. Never went to the outfield for 15, 20 minutes. Most of my talks are 2 or 3 minutes. And I had 2, in my mind, memorable talks. One was after the Cornhusker game. The team was wildly excited. Jumping up and down, they're happy, you know, they had to be, right? So I go back to the outfield and I said, ladies, calm down, calm down. Don't you understand something? They're like, what? Don't you know when you have to play them again? You've never seen so many faces drop. When? I said, never. Never, ever. You will always be 1-0 against the University of Nebraska Cornhuskers. The second talk that I remember wasn't quite so fun. We were down to Pittsburgh, Kansas playing, and the team was playing very, very poorly. And it was one of the longer talks I had. It probably lasted 3 minutes, maybe 4, I don't know. And I was so frustrated, I finally said, you know what? Why don't we all go and do what you people do best? Go eat buckets of ice cream. They never let me forget it. Every time we went anywhere, we can stop and get buckets of ice cream? No. Anyway, the thing I remember the most as I wrap this up is the relationships. It's the relationships I had with other coaches, not just the coaches at Bellevue University, Coach Marce, of course, the coaches that I competed against, but mainly the players, the athletes. It meant the world to me that I was allowed to coach them. I enjoyed it immensely. Sounds like from what I'm hearing tonight, they enjoyed it too. And I appreciate the ones that played for me to come back. I thank you all so much, and that's all I got. Thank you.
What a remarkable class of Hall of Fame inductees. Please, one more time, give them a round of applause. We've added something here to the end of tonight's program. I would like to ask Bellevue University President Dr. Mary Hawkins to come up with an announcement.
This group is remarkable, and it's so impressive to be standing in front of you and realize how much all of you have contributed and supported both the university and especially athletics over the number of years. The reason that I'm up here isn't so much to do with Hall of Fame, but it's recognizing the relationship you've had and sharing with you some news that we have, which is exciting for us and important for us. So I'm going to go quickly into this. Miles, you want to help me? Go ahead and advance. The wins and the success we've had have been in often very interesting. I didn't know about the Exarban parking lot, but some of our other facilities probably rival that. So I did want, thanks, Miles. I did want to share with you that what you're looking at is where we are going to build a new soccer field and a new softball field. And it will not be a slow pitch conversion to either way. It will be a legitimate softball field and legitimate soccer field. In Bellevue tradition, I tried to do it as cost effectively as possible. So you notice that the locker rooms and the press box and all of that is between and shared because it allowed to be very cost effective in building this. I had hoped it would be ready soon. It's down at Hayworth Park. We are very fortunate that the city of Bellevue has allowed us to use that land for our purposes. If you go down 370, it's right before you go over the river. And we would be faster on it if it weren't for the fact that we had the flood a few years ago, and it really knocked out a lot of the sewer systems and other systems. So we're joyously working with the Army Corps of Engineers and the Department of Natural Resources and HDR and all. But as soon as we clear that with the levee, we will construct the fields. They will be turf. They will be beautiful. Next one. This shows you a little bit, and I'm going to have some boards set up outside if you want to take a quick look at it. But this is the locker room, has visiting and team locker rooms that will be down at Hayworth. So we're excited about that. I think it'll be ready sometime in the 23-24 year. It's not on my timetable, or it would be ready this coming fall. It's on the timetable of getting through the core and the levee and all of that kind of stuff. So next, the board of directors, and you've met one of the strong supporters tonight, Keith Edquist, has allowed me with incredible growth that the university's had. Some of you probably don't realize it, but we served over 18,000 students last year. We're growing really strongly, really healthy. Same attention and care for our athletes and our students, but very successful institution. And so what I was able to do, I'm going to use, I think I can use this. Yeah, Miles, point at the triangle there in the middle. We were able to acquire the land across the street from where we are now. We were able to acquire an additional triangular piece that separated it, which gives me a pretty solid block of land. And what we're going to do, what you're looking at here, that's the triangle right there. It goes all the way down to Fort Crook. We own almost all of the land between Herman Drive, Harvell, and Fort Crook. There's just one small section that we don't. So we've been very successful in acquiring that land over the last several years. What you're looking at is where we're going to put a new field house for the university. That is going to be about 76,000 square feet. It will, we're doing construction drawings now. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, I have two of them in there. This is the front of the building. Keep going. We'll just kind of ramp through it. You're welcome to look on the side. This will be in the entrance. The coaches are helping with the design of this, and we decided that we did want it open glass. So you'll enter on the top level, looking down on the courts, and with clear glass there. Keep going. More of the lobby. Ed Lehotak will be happy to explain the designs. We'll have 3 courts inside, 1 competition court, where the seating will be removable or changeable so that we can go to the 3 courts. The next one shows when we do the alternate. So I'm going to, if you want, let Ed answer any questions. Well, here's what I do. I buy the land, and I negotiate the deals and get approval from the board of directors, and got approval from the Sarpy County for a $32 million bond so that we can do both the field house and some improvements on Lower Campus. But it is the athletic department that is designing the facilities, fields, and spaces so that they will serve future athletes at the university. And for all of you, I know that this will be exciting news because you've seen the growth of the university and also seen what our teams can do right now. It will be really exciting to see what they can do in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. Go back to the first one. First one? Yeah. No, I'm sorry, the first inside drawing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is when you would walk in, you can see the lobby. I'm not good at this. Really terrible. Yeah, that's the lobby area and the concession stand, and there'll be restrooms on each side. There'll be, as you could see in that first picture, there was a big glass opening so you can look down onto the courts, so that'll be pretty awesome. Off to the, as I'm looking at to the right, you see all the offices. There's a big open space for assistant coaches. This area here is that'll be an open area for gatherings, meetings, whatever. Maybe Hall of Fame type things we want to get together before basketball games, etc. On the opposite side is storage, is a conference room right there. And then next to it is uniform storage, and mechanical room. Now there will be a wall that separates the competition gym from the practice gym, so that if there's a game going on, for example, a volleyball game, the basketball team could practice without interrupting or influencing the volleyball game and vice versa. So that's very important. You want to go to the next one? The next one, where you see the bear, that's the training room. And you can see all the tables and all the stuff that Mike likes and is demanding. You're always trying to tell him no, but he doesn't seem to want to listen. But, you know, more storage down on the corner there. And then that back here is a weight room, and it's about 8,000 square feet. It's a huge weight room, and it'll be really state-of-the-art. It's really going to be awesome when we get done with it. And off to the other side is 6 locker rooms. So if we do tournaments or anything like that, we can have plenty of room for teams to come in and not have to do the kind of crazy things we have to do right now. So any questions about any of this?
Ed, how many people will hold for games?
About 1,200. Yeah, it's I believe the NAI minimum for hosting opening round basketball is 1,000, and it's about, it might be actually 1,100, I think is the actual number. So, and it will retract, as Dr. Hawkins said, so that you can do 2 courts on the competition court if you wanted to, again for like volleyball in particular. And I do believe we're going to do a drop-down scoreboard in the middle with video capabilities. So we have to talk with Daktronics. A lot of times you can get a really, really good deal if you give them a 10-year advertising option. So that's something we want to look into with them. That's pretty cool. Anything else?
Is there any place to throw stuff?
After your wonderful talk, we're going to find one just for you. Yeah, Ronnie?
Hey, Ed, this is awesome. Will this be able to handle with national tournaments?
Yes, yeah. It will be. Opening round, Kansas City, of course, for basketball, Sioux City for the volleyball. But the opening rounds we can host there. Volleyball has hosted 5 years in a row now, 5 or 6 years in a row, but we have to go to Bellevue West because our ceiling isn't high enough in the gym. But this obviously will take care of that. So it'll be a lot of fun to be able to do that in our own place. And it's right on campus. And it's right across the street from where we are right now. Anything else? Mary, did Keith want to say anything? No?
Nothing that we would add.
I'm ready to go back to the senior center.
The drawings that you're seeing are the construction drawings. That stuff will start breaking ground this fall on this facility. So we'll have all of them kind of coming into place sometime in the next year, depending on supply chain and everybody. Depending on supply chain, and y'all know where we are with that, it will just go as fast as we can, but it's going to take about 18 months after we finish the drawings, which we've got about another 2 months, and then you'll start seeing it. And I imagine that one of these years we will do Hall of Fame there, so we'll see. I'll put the drawings outside, so I think, Ron, I will give you back the mics.
Okay. You can keep that one, take it home. Perfect. What a great evening celebrating athletics at Bellevue University. I was fortunate with all my years at the Bellevue Leader watching so many of you ply your trades. Made it easy to put out a newspaper with so many talented athletes. Coach, do you have anything you want to say other than thanking me or something? Once again, one more round of applause for this class of Hall of Fame members. Thank you. Drive safe. Good night.